It was the early 1960s, and I was just 5 years old, growing up in a modest country home in regional Victoria, Australia. The world felt large and mysterious to me then, full of wonder and shadows. Life was simple. Our house was a humble weatherboard cottage with creaky floors, floral wallpaper, and a sense of warmth that only comes from love passed down through generations. We had a large garden out the back, chooks scratching in the coop, and the scent of eucalyptus always lingered in the air. My mother, a woman of deep intuition and warmth, always left the hallway light on at night. She said it was to help us feel safe, but I would later come to realise it was also to guide the spirits who walked our home, the souls that were never truly gone. One still night I awoke to a feeling that something was different. My eyes fluttered open to the soft glow filtering through my bedroom door. The light cast long shadows across the walls, painting my little room in a warm amber hue. As my sleepy gaze adjusted, I became aware of a presence. Someone was sitting at the end of my bed. She wasn't frightening. There was something strangely familiar and comforting about her. She was an older woman, dressed in a long, old-fashioned gown, her silver hair neatly pulled back into a bun. Her face was marked with the lines of a life fully lived, but it was her eyes that struck me the most deeply, knowing and filled with an unexplainable kindness. I had this feeling I had seen these eyes before. She didn't speak. She simply sat there, watching me with a gentle smile, like a grandmother who'd come to check in on her grandchild. I remember feeling curious, not afraid, which in hindsight was rather extraordinary for a 5-year-old. After what felt like minutes, though time stood still in that moment, she began to fade. Her form dissolved into the air like mist evaporating under the morning sun, and I was left alone once again. The next morning, I rushed to tell Mum about the older woman who had visited me. I remember the way her teacup rattled slightly as she placed it back onto the saucer. She listened intently, her face draining of colour as I described the woman in detail. "That sounds like my grandmother," she said quietly. "Your great-grandmother." Mum went on to explain that this woman, her grandmother, had died in 1914, 50 years before I was born. I had never seen a photo of her. None existed in our home. And yet I had described her with uncanny accuracy, down to the way she wore her hair and the formal apron she wore, complete with a stain on the front. That was the moment my life changed. It was my first real experience with the spirit world, the first of many. My great-grandmother didn't just visit me that one night. She became a guardian presence in my life, appearing in times of illness, danger, or emotional turmoil. Her energy would shift the room, the air would grow thick and still, and I would feel her gaze before I ever saw her. There was one instance when I was around 8 years old, terribly unwell with a high fever. That night, as I lay sweating and delirious, she came again, placing what felt like a cool hand on my forehead. The next morning, my fever had broken. My mother would later say that she had been up all night, praying that perhaps both of them had been watching over me. Then there were the warnings. As I grew older, her appearances became more purposeful. She would sometimes speak to me, her voice soft, like a whisper carried on the wind. The messages were always brief, but potent. "Be careful with the fire," she warned one summer afternoon. That very evening, a faulty power cord sparked in our lounge room. Luckily, I had insisted we check everything, recalling her warning just in time. There were also more personal messages, gentle nudges to steer clear of certain people or to listen more closely to my inner voice. And on a few occasions, she brought tidings of loss. I remember waking one night to her presence, this time more solemn than before. "He will be with me soon," she said. Within the week, we lost my grandfather. Another time, it was an aunt who passed. each time she came before, as if to gently prepare me and to assure me they wouldn't be alone on the other side. I began to understand that my great-grandmother was not just a spirit, but a guide, a part of my spiritual inheritance, watching over our bloodline with unwavering devotion. It was through her that I began to recognize my OIFs. By the time I was a teenager, I could sense the emotions of others, see flickers of light that danced through the corners of my vision, and receive impressions of events before they occurred. I understood things I hadn't been taught, felt truths that couldn't be explained logically. Mum eventually opened up about the women in our family, how each generation carried a special connection to the unseen. My great-grandmother had been a healer in her day, known for her uncanny knowing and herbal remedies. Mum herself had hidden her gifts, worried about judgment in our small town, but she nurtured mine in quiet ways, teaching me to trust my instincts, to pay attention to my dreams, and to embrace rather than fear the unknown. My great-grandmother's visits became less frequent as I gained my independence. She still appeared, now more as confirmation or celebration, a gentle smile when I made the right choice, a comforting presence in times of sorrow, but always, always with those kind eyes. To this day, when the veil grows thin, whether during a reading, a moment of crisis, or under the light of a full moon, I feel her near, along with and when I help others find clarity through psychic readings or spiritual guidance, I know I'm never truly working alone. That encounter at age 5, that simple moment of recognition between souls across time, was the spark that ignited a lifelong journey. It taught me that love transcends generations, that spirits can guide and protect us, and that we are never truly alone. My great-grandmother wasn't a ghost. She was a lighthouse, a beacon shining from the other side, helping me find my way home. Kerry Kulkens